What happens when you mix an auto battler game with a roguelike and a deck builder game? I'll be developing my first ever roguelike project, and it starts right here with the initial concept we created in our Devlog 0 video 2 weeks ago. Last week, I told you guys I would be reviving the autoscroller genre. Well, some of you may have reminded me that I missed a couple of games in the genre, like this, and this, and yeah, these. Yeah, thanks guys. Well, thank you for the informative comments, but besides the deadness or aliveness of the genre, let's jump right in by starting the conversion process from concept to the game's first playable prototype. So when starting to brainstorm a plan for this game, I wanted to take a deeper look into why I loved video games so much, what made me want to develop them in the first place, and actually create a brand around these same concepts. Well, I grew up playing a lot of Nintendo games. The rush of feelings I got from experiencing a brand new, colorful, bright world filled with real care put into every aspect of a game's design. These are the same feelings I want from my company. Some key elements I want from my games as my company continues on would be to experience enticing, cute, and quirky stories that drive a game forward, special mechanics that create a unique design in a game's philosophy, and maybe even some games bringing back those nostalgic moments of sitting down, playing games with friends and family for even deeper, more meaningful memories. With this roguelike auto battler game, I would like to focus on the unique mechanic aspect and the world building elements of a cute and fun story. So now that we've touched on a bit more of the vision of what I want to create, the first thing I wanted to tackle was the background of the game. I remade an upgraded version of my concept background to be the real resolution scaling I want to use for my game, which is actually double the size I used in the concept, and also making sure that I do split up my layers so that in-game we can have some kind of cool parallaxing effect where the different layers of clouds and mist move at varied pacing to give a sense of scale and vastness in the landscape's sheer size compared to the foreground. Next up was importing the character with animations running across our basic gameplay template we made in the last episode. Throwing on the parallaxing background in the main tile layer, the game is really starting to take shape and finally resemble what we created in our concept. I really do believe that adding this vast open background adds a great deal of depth to the scene, but if you take a look at the whole image, we are still missing a few components. Here is the layered foreground for an increase in perspectives and activity in the scene, the health bars for when we implement our combat system, and finally, some extremely basic enemies to complete the full concept in a game engine. Bringing this game to life really shows what the game will actually feel like, but we aren't done for today. This wouldn't be a good video if we didn't show off new content unseen in the last episode. So now on to phase 2 of our game building devlog, adding polish and basic combat. There's a lot of polish that needs to be added to this game. However, for today, we'll be looking at 2 major components for boosting the player's experience by first adding in a particle system. Particles, while not being integral to a game's design, adds a ton to the game feel when implemented correctly. Here we have no particles on the left and some very basic particles on the right with footsteps and a death animation to add an emphasis on what is actually going on in the game. But we aren't done there. Before we add any real attack animations over these characters just yelling at each other, I want to explain a portion of the game we touched on in the last devlog, which brings us to the second major component, the game's class system. Classes are a huge portion of this game, as picking a class will change the character's main attack, stats, and look, but this will also completely change the cards in the deck a player will acquire throughout their run. Each class will have unique mechanics and playstyles to differ from one another, so while we won't be going into too much detail on the card mechanics and playstyle differences just yet, here is the Knight class for melee and card comboing specialists, and of course, just as we hinted at in the last devlog, the first official created class, the Wizard class, for heavy spellcasting and status condition inducing playstyles. I went ahead and created the first actual attack animation for a character, so yeah, we got real hit particles, damage number indicators, and an actual character class that will be used in the final version of the game. I'm super happy with how this all turned out, so to close out, I just wanted you all to know that this will be a project I build out over the next few months, hopefully releasing by the end of 2023, or at the latest, early 2024. I want to focus on building polished experiences that are fun to play and easy to jump into, rather than grand, half-made concepts that take 5 years to develop and bank my entire life on a wishful success. If you're a fan of this game or the videos I put out on the channel, a like on the video and subscribing would go a very long way for this journey. So until the next episode where we start building out the cards for the game, I'll leave you with one final update. I will be trying to release a video on my channel every other Friday, so 2 videos a month until this game is done. For me, this is a reasonable amount of time for me to create a good amount of content for the actual devlog while still making a quality video to showcase off my progress. I would also like to start streaming, so I'm thinking every Tuesday I will try to stream game development and pixel art related content, so look forward to that starting the following week of this video's release. Thank you so much for everyone's support. You guys really killed it on the first devlog, and the video is still being seen by a lot of people every single day. So let's just continue the series and try to make it as successful as possible together as a community. And I hope to see you in the next episode.